Stephen, thank you very much for joining us. It's a pleasure having you on the show, and I'd love to dig deeper a little bit about the book, but also for our audience, if you wouldn't mind starting us with an introduction about yourself and what you've been up to, that'd be great.
Sure. Well, I'm a financial advisor. That's where I come from. I'm a third generation in the insurance and investment business. My grandfather got us started way back in 1933 when he was very unhappy with the way that people of color were able to receive financial security by way of life insurance, and set out to change that. There was racial discrimination in underwriting at the time, and he abolished that. And 3 generations later, what I'm trying to do is provide accessibility and whatnot to the globalization of the financial world. And so we're doing 2 things today. We're focusing in Asia. That's our platform, or my platform. In Asia, we're bringing opportunities from outside of your countries to fill the gaps and bring new opportunities into your country, sensitized for your country. And then here in the United States, what we're doing is looking at the immigrant reality of the United States, the fact that we come from 200 nations. But our organization, but the fact is that the financial services industry still really looks at helping people primarily while within the borders of the United States. We don't take into account where we come from, and people are not well prepared for coming into the United States. And we want to change that so that they're better contributors to the United States and have more fulfilled lives. And so that's where our aim is today.
Okay, and what made you write this book?
Well, Aloha Financial Advising came for the fact I just mentioned that I'm third generation, and I was not going to be the third generation in the business because I figured I was never going to be in the business. Once I found out the family was in life insurance, selling life insurance, and that's what we did initially, I was appalled. I didn't want to be a life insurance salesman because everything that I learned was that they were just going to try to sell you something that you really didn't need. And I didn't want to have that. Why would I choose to do that for a living? And I had a good fortune of learning, and basically being saved from going down the path of resistance to embracing everything about the business. And ultimately, the book is about this dissonance, right? This sort of dysfunction between advisors and those we advise. And you can do it from any industry and look at it from any industry, but mine is the financial planning industry. And so I learned how to make it better. I learned how to do it a different way. And since I learned that, instead of just bitching and moaning about how bad it is and that we earned this reputation, this negative reputation, I'm seeking ways to address it in a positive way. And Aloha Financial Advising is that's what that's all about.
Can you share the big idea behind the book? Somebody who reads the book, what are they going to get out of it?
Well, I think the big stuff is the shift, right? A shift of going to, hey, or maybe aligning, more importantly, aligning yourselves with your core values, our core values, and finding more fulfillment and joy in our lives. And really, that's really the bottom line. I mean, how we get there is, for me, it was a tough journey, fortunate journey, but a very tough one. And I think the big idea is that bottom line is that you can find happiness in your life, and at the same time, if you're rooted in doing good, that you do better because of that alignment.
Is the book primarily for financial advisors or for the people they are advising?
That's a great question. I really wanted to write the book in 2 parts. I wanted to have one side where you flip over. On the other side is for the advisors, and one side is for those we advise. But it really ended up being for the advisors, although those that we advise would benefit from it. And certainly I've already had a lawyer pick it up, and she read it, and she said, I was so excited. I took it to my financial advisor inside of our company. I bought another book and gave it to another financial advisor because I want them to know this is how I want to be treated. And so that to me was sort of a fascinating epiphany that, yeah, I'm super happy that those that we seek to advise see it in a very positive way as well.
Can you explain a little bit that mindset, the shift that the advisors have to make in order to serve their clients a little better?
Yeah, I think the key point is to understand the value of focusing on others. And you don't need to worry about yourself and what you have or you don't have. That the world really has it for you, and it's just about a matter of getting it aligned with yourselves. And I think that's really the key point.
Is there any pushback from financial advisors, or when they see that it makes total sense and they want to adjust?
Well, that's a great question. The book's kind of new. I just heard recently that one of the big organizations internationally is the $1 Million Roundtable, and they have a book club, and these are financial advisors who pay their money to get together to share with each other. They're the best, considered the best in the world, and I just got noted that they chose the book to read and criticize, and I'm really looking forward to that. I think that yes, it's provocative, because I am saying that that relationship between advisors and those we advise is broken, and I prove it. I think I prove it. I've lived it. I think all the reasons why I felt the way I felt going into the business, not wanting to be a part of the business, it's all there. And yet there's better ways, and there's ways that you can overcome that and really do more because of it. And so I hope that others will benefit from what I've learned.
Can you, just to make it a little more tangible, would you mind sharing an example of how that relationship is broken?
Yes. So coming to business, and when I got started, and I think everyone hears this same sort of stuff, you can make your time and you can focus on helping people, and that's really the key message I hear, which is helping people. And that's the part, and that's great, that's uplifting. And then you get involved in the company that recruited you, and doing well for others or doing good for others turns into doing well for yourself by selling. And so we turn around, and it makes perfect sense, doesn't it? I mean, you're being recruited by a firm. They're spending money to recruit you. They're recruiting you because they've got products to sell. And so we get caught up in selling their product. We get excited about the product, or maybe one or two products, right? And we get out there and we tell everybody about it. And then we get rewarded. We get rewarded by compensation, accolades, conventions, and all the spotlight on ourselves. And we become even better at it. We become even better at selling something that is awesome to ourselves, but may not be the perfect thing or the prioritized item in someone's financial plan. Not everyone is the same. We all have different situations and whatnot. And so what we need to get to where we want to get to is unique. And so how do we get out of that? How do we get out of that spiral when that's actually it's being promoted, it's being celebrated, and so on and so forth? And that's really the key point. And I myself got caught up in that. Here I was, I didn't want to be that sales guy, and got in there, and I had the good fortune of finding a vision and mission right off the bat, because what saved me was a single mother who taught me that, how life insurance saved her life. She didn't want any. Her husband is the one that went ahead and got it. He was shot dead, and that life insurance saved her life. And the heroes that represented that life insurance, the very ones that she was poo-pooing on, basically are now the heroes in her life. And that people like me, who question the products and services, needed to stay in business in that industry to protect people like her, who depend upon these items to be presented in a proper manner for people like her. And that was a great epiphany for me, right? And so her first mission was really a vision of, hey, what happens if Kathy, that was her name, what if she dies and her two kids couldn't fend for herself? What were they going to do? Who was going to take care of them? And who was going to pay for that care? How was she going to fund for that? And of course, she knew the answer. I didn't know the answer until I met her, right? And so I set up shop and told everybody, if you know a single mom, I want to ask them some questions and help direct them. And all of a sudden, that focus of helping these single mothers, right, deal with their situation. I didn't even know that life insurance came with commissions, believe it or not. And I got a check, and that was actually fortunate, right? Because it wasn't about the money that I did. I was just saying, hey, we're interning here, why not get some of this stuff? And And then I realized that, hey, I can get paid well for this. And that was the fortunate tie-in for me. So how do we get past ourselves? And how do we get past that cycle of I'm going to chase that money to make it? Well, you know what? How's about chasing something that's even more important than that and more important than ourselves, and go out and address that? And so a vision that's bigger than you, and how you come up with the missions to do that. And I share a little bit about that, as well as most importantly, what I learned was making it for the whole of my life to look at what I really believe in life. And that's the things that I value at my core. And how could I take that and interweave that and integrate that into my business life so that the whole of my life becomes wonderful. I don't worry about the hours in the day. I don't worry about the day of the week. And I'm always uplifted by the people around me. And that leads to another point that I make in the book that for advisors, which many advisors seek how to do referrals, how to ask for referrals. And I've learned many ways, and I share one. To me, it's vital. It changed the entire trajectory of, at least the feeling in my practices, was how I ended up doing that. So I share that as well in the book.
Yeah, can you share it here with us?
Oh, sure. So yeah, it's really simple. When I got in the business, it was, hey, don't worry, you got family and friends. Well, I was third generation, and I was in Hawaii. You know how big Hawaii is, or how small Hawaii is. All my aunts and uncles that I grew up with were from the family business, which was financial planning. So everyone, I had to do it a different way. But at the end of the day, it all led to referrals. So how? I'll just get right to it. I realized that, it was always a great day when I met people I wanted to meet, like I want to meet you today, right? So I thought about the people, if I could choose who I was going to talk to, and for goodness sakes, I could choose that, couldn't I? That would make for a better day. So I started to think about my favorite clients, the people I enjoy the most, meeting the most of all, not worrying about what the outcomes are, just to meet wonderful people. And so I realized that my favorite client, and all of the people listening in, think of your favorite clients. My favorite clients had three attributes. Number one, they had dependents that they worried about, and they did something about it. They did some planning for it. That was two. And the third part was, I love people of integrity. People that do what they say they're going to do exactly the way they say they're going to do it. And so I decided I better go ask for these people. Because if I meet people like that, it's going to be fun. No matter what happens, I'm going to meet great people. And so then, so that was number one. Identify what it is that I really want. Who it is that I really want to meet. And then secondly was to, hey, go and ask for that. But not just from anyone, right? You got to ask for people, like that, from people like that. So I thought about my favorite clients, right? I thought about my favorite people in the world that actually matched that. And I went and I asked them to help me expand my business. And that's how I got started. It really started on this upward trajectory. It's amazing. I would say, hey, Constantinos, thank you for helping me expand my business. And, I don't expect you to be thinking of, who needs the services of a financial advisor, because to me, that would be, you're going to put somebody in front of, a guy like me in front of one of your friends or something like that. That's offensive even to me. So, but what I'd like to do is I want to ask you, who do you know who's, really cares about their dependents and does things to get more for them, and are really people of integrity that do the things they say they're going to do exactly the way they say they're going to do them. People like you. And because I could say that was true, right? I'm asking for exactly what I want. I'm asking it from a person who is of that. And so I could ask that without any hesitation, any fear. And they always answer. They always think about someone that they really respect. And it's pretty amazing what happens. They feel good about themselves because they hear me putting them in the right light. But the most important part is when I get to meet that person. So now I'm going to meet this person. Let's just call her Mary, and she's worried, right? Because she's meeting me for the first time. She's, it's a financial advisor. What is he going to try to sell me? And I just come right out and say, I've really been anxious to meet you because, frankly speaking, I am anxious to meet her and looking forward to it. And the reason why I'm anxious to meet her is because, when I was just finishing up Constantino's financial plans, where, we were talking about, people that he knew that really cared about the ones that depend upon them, made plans of action to deliver to them more and more. But most of all, people of integrity, people who do the things that they say they're going to do exactly the way they say they're going to do them. And the first person he thought of was you, Mary. And so we get started off in a beautiful place, right? We get to talk about, and we're probably going to talk about Constantinos, right? We're going to probably talk about that relationship. Usually they start asking me, what kinds of things did you do? And it makes for a real natural way to go ahead and get started, whatever way you do it. So my belief is just like the core values that I have, which are aloha, embedded in 5 Hawaiian words. Similarly, I actually encourage you to think about yourself and what are the kinds of people you want to meet, and go and ask for it. And that's really going to help I think, the trajectory of your happiness in your practice, and because of that, the success within it. So.
Beautiful. Thank you very much for sharing. That was great. And we can jump into the quick fire questions, just because of time, if you wouldn't mind.
Sure.
I asked this question: what is your second favorite business book? Assuming yours is your favorite business book, but really, what's your favorite business book outside your own?
Well, certainly mine is not a favorite business book. I have to be real honest with you. I hope that what I learned getting in a business that, I was just shunning, that you'd find some value in it. But thank you for asking. There's so many great books out there. I'm a member of a book club, and I feel good fortune about that. But I probably, the 2 books I like, or for my business, I enjoyed Traction from Gino Wickman, and also Good to Great from Jim Collins. So I know Good to Great is, they're both, to me, timeless in their own ways. I mean, I could add in Simon Sinek, although I've always been about why, although he articulates it so well. Cameron Herold on his Vivid Vision. And so on and so forth. So I could go on and on. I mean, there's just so many great people that I'm blessed to learn from. So yes, but those would be the ones that I would put first and foremost.
And what do you wish you knew when you were 20?
What I wish was 20 was that I knew the value of what my family did, and that I wasn't so full of myself. And I wish that. I believed in having mentors. I was good fortune because what happened only happened before, my mid-20s. I learned this, and right away I realized how small-minded, how maybe insecure, I don't know, but how wrong I was, just put it that way, and how silver-spooned I was. And I needed to find people or to look at everybody as an opportunity to learn and grow. And I wish I knew that at 20, that everyone is a blessing to learn and grow from. And that, and sometimes it's what you don't want to do, that's okay too. That I should really keep a quiet mind and open heart. A quiet mind because we're so judgmental, and an open heart so we can listen and love. And so that we can be more. And I didn't have any of that at 20.
Great. Thank you very much for sharing. I really appreciate it.
Thank you, Constantinos.